In this video, I'm going to talk about the idea of perfect sensitivity and my experiences with people trying to find them. As an aim coach, I've seen two really notable instances of the person I'm coaching being obsessed with finding a better sense. The first was actually my first student, a former semi-pro Valorant player called Dopeye who peaked rank 1 Radiant. The second was Zexro, who was at the time a professional Valorant player for Dark Zero and ended up peaking rank 3 Radiant. While these were both Valorant players, this, like almost all my videos, applies to people in any FPS game. These two were both convinced that their sensitivity had a massive impact on their gameplay, and it's honestly not that important. First, I'm going to explain the basics of sensitivity and finding a sense, then I'm going to get into what these players were doing and why it made them practically uncoachable and how it made their progress extremely slow. But before I can do any of that, a quick word from this video's sponsor, Metafy. I'm actually a Metafy coach, so when they reached out to me for this, I was on board instantly. If you're looking for me to coach your aim or you want me to VOD review your gameplay and suggest Kovaak scenarios based on that gameplay, check out Metafy. Maybe you want a professional or an elite Valorant player or a player in some other game to coach you. Click the link in the very top of the description to get that. What would happen with Dopeye and Zexro, and what happens with a lot of you, is you constantly think that your sensitivity, if it was a bit different the previous game, you would have played significantly better. That's just not how sensitivity works. If you're on a radically high sense, let's say 2 centimeters per 360, you'll perform terribly. But when you start lowering it, you'll feel better. You'll play significantly better because the sensitivity you are playing on requires unreasonable amounts of precision for any FPS game or scenario. Once you get to a certain sense range, you'll hit a sense where the benefits of lowering sense start to feel a lot less significant, and there will start to become drawbacks of lowering your sense. When you're on a high sense, it is much easier to move your mouse more quickly. When you're on a low sense, this will require a lot more force. Stopping your mouse may become harder as you had to move it faster to flick, meaning you will need more force to stop your mouse. You will start to run out of space on your mousepad and become forced to play in very uncomfortable positions. On the other hand, a high sense will require a lot more precision. Targets will feel smaller on your mousepad and you'll have to be more exact on where your mouse lands. Different sensitivities will require different joints, and chances are you aren't equally comfortable with all of your joints, so maybe a low sense that works really well for someone else will feel terrible for you as you're not comfortable with moving your shoulder. Different games and Kovaak scenarios will require different sensitivities due to different bot speeds, different character speeds, and differences in how fast you have to rotate your character. Because these advantages and drawbacks exist, people tend to think that sensitivity and skill will feel like an upsides down parabola. If they find the right sense, they will be at the peak of their skill. In reality, what happens is a certain range forms where the difference between sensitivities is pretty much unnoticeable. So what is the sense range you have to be in? Well, it depends. Different people have different experiences. Some are far more comfortable on higher sensitivities, while others are much more experienced on low sensitivities. Well-balanced aimers should have a lot of practice on a wide range of sensitivities. Let's take a game like Apex. You're traveling around a large map, tracking fast-moving, close enemies that require a high sense, and then attack FPS like Valorant, where your game sense is enough to get your crosshair close to people's heads 90% of the time. If you want to find a perfect sense range, all you gotta do is pick a sense that is comfortable for what you're doing and play the game for a bit. Chances are it'll be a fine sense if it doesn't feel terrible. If you don't know, play a different sense. If you don't notice drastic improvements, both settings are within the range of perfect sensitivities. If you're struggling to decide which sensitivity is best, that means that they're both within a range of very good sensitivities and they're completely equal. Stop debating it in your head, pick one or don't. Change between them every day, just don't overthink it. If every sensitivity from the range of 20 centimeters per 360 to 100 centimeters per 360 feels uncomfortable and you can't decide on any of them, that means that you're just bad and you need to focus on improving your skill, not your sensitivity. Over-focusing on your sensitivity like Dopeye and Zexro did can be detrimental. No, you won't lose your muscle memory. Common sense exists. It's not 2005. You'll reconsolidate. You'll learn the new sense pretty easily. But what will happen is you'll put way too much emphasis on sense and focus less and less on improving your skill and actually getting good. There's no longer a question of what can I do to get better. There becomes this question of what is this random float that I can edit for fast results. People think that there will be an instant result from something that cannot provide instant results, and they get annoyed when aim training does not provide them this instant gratification that they desire. It requires a lot of dedication. If you want want to see a good video on how to use Kovaaks to train for Valorant? Check out the video in the top right. This focus can also distract your mind. If all of your focus is on sensitivity, you likely won't be able to concentrate on your training or the actual game, making your progress slower. Fast learning, whether it be information or motor skills, requires focus. I also had a lot of trouble coaching these people as they were always recentering their focus to their sense. They couldn't focus on aiming errors without the idea of sensitivity coming into their mind. Imagine you're a basketball coach and every time your players miss a shot, they'll run to their bag and replace their shoes with another pair and focus on which pair is the best. They don't focus on how the shot was missed or what drills you give them to fix that shot. It would be impossible to work with that person. Nowadays, when I get a DM from someone asking me to coach them and find their sense, chances are I will tell that person not to hire me as a coach. I will tell them that if they try to, I will probably refund them as the service they are looking for does not exist. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more content like this. And make sure to check out Metafy in the description.